Welcome, everyone, to Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Winstel Brickyard 400. The crown jewel waiting to be conducted. 80 laps tonight here around this 2.5-mile oval, this symphony of speed. The home for American motorsports, home for motorsports around the world. Plays host tonight. We're glad you're with us here. 2 races to go until the start of the Winstel Cup Series chase. Every point matters. Every point is important. And we are so glad you are with us for tonight's event. Before we get too awful crazy, a huge shout out to any of our Patreon Premier Tier subs: Trev Logan, Darman2935, Eli Sassick, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Tyler Head, B-Dogs, Colin McDonough, Blue, KJ Gibney, J. Paul, and Jake Botak. Thank you all for supporting us here across 2026 here on Patreon. If you're also subscribed via the Plus tier, your name's at the bottom of the screen all throughout the broadcast. If you're wanting to have your name shouted out as well, QR code, bottom of your screen, can help you get started here tonight. We're glad you're with us across Patreon and YouTube, simulcasting as per normal for tonight's event. Points, they are very important going into this event. It's Mauricio, Roberts, Hal, and Solis within 60 points of each other at the top of the standings. Christian Budd within half a race of the top spot as well. Such is the turns and twists of Watkins Glen a week ago. Andy Cipriano in 6th, Sean Pellig in 7th, Josh Chen, race winner in Watkins Glen a week ago, up into the top 8, ahead of Brendan McGee, Colin Keister, Lucas Davila. His first podium in Winstel competition came a week ago as well. He's up into the 11th position, as well as Jacob Potak, who rounds out the field of 12 if the chase started tonight. It doesn't. It starts after next week's race in California. Those on the outside looking in: Michael Guest, Brandon McKissick, Kirk Marble, Christina Ryan. It is a flurry of drivers at the edge on the outside looking in for the chase. Tyler Head in 17th, Evan Locke 18th, ahead of Nick Doucette. Andrew Ferriner your top 20. Mike Rasmus, Parker Alexander, Blake Cannon, Alex Bates, your top 24 here. And then you look at those that are in the top 35 points. Brandon Cruz spent 2 weeks outside the top 35, now back in barely by 12 points over Ryan Andrew. Lewandowski also in the top 35, as is Tyler Murray, Philip Snipes, Brandon Coppinger, Jordan Barabee, Jeff Yenich, Ryan Hill, Larry Pace, Tom Millette, and Brian Moyer. Ryan Andrew on the outside looking in, as is Ryan Daly, Craig Lautenslager, Chris Champeau, Evan Melanson, Kyle Benson, Tom Wetmore, James Grantham, TJ Crampton, Aaron Smith, Lucas Strayer, Steve Brown, and Anthony Kroback, among others here. Got all that? Perfect. Qualifying currently underway here in Indianapolis. Lap times coming pretty frequently here. One of the drivers in the top 12 right now, looking to stay that way, is Sean Pellig. He is starting a lap right now. Looking for the Bud Pole Award right now. Emily Howe has it. Also, you'll see different colors describing who is in and who is out right now. If you're green, you're safe. If you're yellow, you're in the chase, but you're within a race of being out of it. And if you're blue, you're in the inverse. You're within a race, but on the outside looking in. If you're in white, you're mathematically not eligible for the chase at this point. 25 of that lap times at the moment, down to Christina Ryan, who is the slowest at the moment. Very unusual for the Ohio-born driver for Team Red Bull, who typically has a lot of pace here around the Brickyard. She's 25th, behind Sam Millette and Jeff Yenich. So we'll see how things pan out. The 48, Sean Pelleg knows how to get his way around the Brickyard, across the yard of bricks, and he goes 11th fastest provisionally. Not a bad run. Potential pole contender as well, Michael Guest, trying to launch his way forward. He is on an outlap looking to make magic happen here. For the first time, I think all season, we're going to have less than 43 cars here at the Brickyard. 36 is what I'm counting. Which is crazy because we had a full field 43 at Watkins a week ago. Not the case here tonight. Michael Guest on a qualifying lap now. 30th set qualifying times. See what Michael Guest can get here. It will be difficult, but not impossible, to go for pole position. Currently in the hands of Emily Howe. Colin Keister came close, as did Christian Budd, and Michael Guest won't be able to complete the qualifying. That is devastating for Michael Guest. He was on a good lap time, too. We could see the splits. I don't know if it would have been pole, but it would have been top 15 on the starting grid. It's time to get ready to break down the starting grid here in Indianapolis. So your qualifying results on your screen right now. This is how things look. Emily Howe with a 52.225 was the time to beat in qualifying. Colin Keister, Christian Budd, Andy Trupiano, Jacob Potak, your top 5 of the qualifying. Brandon McKissick, Dylan Roberts, Tyler Head, Gabriel Mauricio, and Josh Chen, your top 10, is how things line up here. Outside the top 10, looking in, Evan Locke, 11th, alongside last week's pole sitter, Lucas Davila. Sean Pelleg sitting in 13th, ahead of Brendan McGee, who will line up alongside in row 7. Andrew Ferrinares, Matthew Seeger, row 8. Row 9, Thomas Lewandowski and Kirk Marble. Row 10, Brandon Cruz and Chris Champeau. Your top 30 looks like this. Philip Snipes and Eli Sasek in row 11. Ethan Winters, Craig Lautenslager in row 12. Row 13, Tyler Murray and Jose Solis Jr., Jeff Yunich and Tom Willett. Row 14, Christina Ryan and Brandon Coppinger down in row 15 here at the Brickyard. Non-time setters, Michael Guest, Corey Cook, James Grantham, Zach Tyndall, Corey Steinhauser, and Hayden Raypot will make up this 36-car field. The first time the series has had less than 43 cars at an event this season, which I believe is a record. You're going to see the grid rolling at the bottom of your screen so you can see who's in what car. Emily Howe on pole here at Indianapolis. Colin Keister looking for race win number 4 in his debut season. A lot of fun to see how things pan out here. 36 cars, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We'd love to see it. Trevor not taking the initial start here is the 48 of Pelleg. Michigander. Not currently on the racetrack that I can see. That's going to be a problem. That's really not good for Sean Pellick here, who's qualified well. And now we'll have to work through a slew of progress here. It is Emily Howe and Colin Keister at the front of the field for this Brickyard 400. 80 laps to get the job done here at this Grand Cathedral. Over a century in the making. Green flag flies and the Brickyard 400 is underway. Wonderful graphics there. Cameras by Henderson Graphics. As they complete lap one, Christian Budd got around Colin Keister. Keister down to fourth behind Potak. It is Emily Howe out front, but the 17 charging forward to apply pressure. As they roll around turn 4 to complete lap number 2 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Emily Howe has led both the opening laps from pole position. Sean Pellick is on the racetrack now. There he is. The 48 having a technical issue, but has returned to the racetrack. So all 36 cars that qualified are here. Potak, fastest lap last time around, dispatching himself from the 12. Keister ahead of Trupiano and Roberts, the Budweiser number 8, who was in the running for the race in Watkinsville a week ago. Also, once again, top 6 here. He's in 6th. Behind Trupiano, trying to get into the top 5. The points leader, Gabriel Mauricio, sitting in 7th. Tyler Head, former champion of the series, in 8th. Evan Locke working against Brandon McKissick right now for the 9th spot. Locke in 9th, McKissick in 10th at the line as they sail into turns 1 and 2. Still side by side. McKissick not wanting to give up that 9th spot easily. They'll stay side by side here down the back straightaway. Side by side through 1, side by side through 2. And they'll enter 3 side by side as well. Another car trying to move forward. I believe that was Thomas Lewandowski. It is, working against Matthew Seeger. Evan Locke finally gets clear of the 42 of McKissick. It took him a full lap and change to make that happen. Lewandowski cleared and got ahead of Seeger in less than half a lap. Also on the start trying to move forward is the 39 of Ethan Winters. Working right now between McGee and Cruz in the 19th position. Front of the field, McKissick distracted us a little bit in his battle with Evan Locke. Christian Budd to the front of the field. Ahead of Emily Howe. The 17, DeWalt Tools Ford Fusion for Roush Racing. Now out in front, it is Roush Fenway Racing, Michael Waltrip Racing, and Hendrick Motorsports, your top three. Penske Racing in fourth and fifth. E06, Penske Racing South. Andy Trupiano. And then Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, DEI, sitting in sixth. A long race by Winstel standards, 80 laps is a pretty difficult one. Emily Howe staying right under the bumper of Christian Budd. Christian Budd not running fully down towards the curbing there below the white line. Emily Howe getting to that part of the racetrack. And they're both keeping themselves about 4/10 ahead of Jacob Potak. Sail into turns 1 and 2. Really good look here from turn 2 as they sail through the south end of the racetrack, and now they head north out of turn 2. Everyone is largely shuffled in single file. I believe it's still pretty close, even in single file, further back in the running order. Everyone thinking tires immediately here at Indianapolis. This is a track that eats them up for breakfast for stock cars. So obviously this track designed for open wheel machines. Stock car tires will take a lot of pressure here. 4 distinct corners on the racetrack. It is difficult. In fact, this is Jeff Yenich down in the 31st position. You can see a little bit of damage on the right side of that 27 car. He has tagged the wall already in this race. Currently sitting ahead of James Grantham, the 38, who sits 32nd at the moment. Pass going on further back. It looks like that is Lucas Davila taking on... Sorry, not Lucas Davila. That was Brendan McGee taking on Philip Snipes. The 9 of McGee taking on the 2 of Snipes. There is the 09 of Kirk Marble. McGee on the move here a little bit of contact there as Kirk Marble gets checked up by Snipes. But everyone keeps it going in the right direction for now. Further back, you see Chris Champeau behind Brandon Cruz by about 0.6 of a second. And that's about 8 car lengths. Lawton Slager and Guest, 22nd, 23rd. Christina Ryan, who started this race 29th, having to climb her way forward. Qualifying, making her life more difficult. 29th on the grid, 24th right now is where you'll find the Team Red Bull driver at this particular junction. Gap closing in for third. Everyone closing in on the top 2 at the moment as we come around to start lap number 10. It is Bud that is leading the way ahead of pole sitter Emily Howe. Colin Kieser, your front row starter, 3-time race winner this season. In fourth, Jacob Potak, the defending Winstel Cup Series champion, in third, stuck there in the middle. What we call no man's land at the moment, Andy Trupiano. He's been quiet, but he's been effective this season to be top 12 in the points with 2 races to go until the start of the Winstel Cup Series chase for the championship. Okay, Mauricio in 7th behind Dylan Roberts, your points leader. Did not have the greatest run at Watkins Glen a week ago. Trying to return to form here at the Brickyard here tonight. Tyler Head, former champion. On the outside of the points looking in, that was Dylan Roberts, who clipped the fence and got a little high for it. And the door is now open for the Brazilian, the 5 of Mauricio, to move his way through. Let's see if he can. side by side through turn 1. Here they go. South end of the racetrack to start lap 11. Robert stayed ahead of Mauricio. Not through lack of trying. Here comes Evan Locke. Tyler Head covers it off, goes to the inside because he wants a chance at Mauricio. The 5 and the 4 side by side, the 33 shadowing. As Head gets a little loose there through turn 3. And now rolling through turn 4. Evan Locke just packing air on the rear of that number 4 machine for Morgan McClure. And here comes the Richard Childress Racing's number 33 car of Locke. Side by side just behind them, it is McKissick and Chen. Chen, your winner last week in the Glen. McKissick holding on to that 10th spot at the moment. Davila in 13th, lost 1 spot before he started. Started this race 12th, lost the spot to Ferry-Nares. You see that car in the grass, that was Brennan McGee, who went for a bit of a wild ride out of turn 2, got himself loose, and surrendered a couple spots to Seeger, to Lewandowski, to Marble. He drops down to 17th, which is where he was a few laps ago before he started his charge forward. Marble saying thank you for giving him space, but now he's got Lewandowski to deal with in front of him. Battle further back, Winters and Cruz. That is for 19th and 20th. Michael Guest 21st, also in on the action, as is Chris Champeau. Christina Ryan continues her climb forward. The Team Red Bull driver, the only representative for the team here at the Brickyard, sitting 23rd now, having gotten around the 99 of Craig Lautenslager. Biggest loser qualified this race well, didn't take the start with everybody else. Sean Pellix in the 36th. Catching up to the 58 of Hayden Rapal right now. Zach Tyndall in 34th is the next one up, 4.3 seconds up the road. Emily Howe's been passed by Potak here. Potak looking for the race lead as we begin lap 14. The Serpentine, the Dragon down the front straightaway, heading into turn 1. Potak found some pace here. Started this race down in the 5th position, up to 2nd, applying pressure. 3 persistent faces at the front of the field once again found themselves in a battle amongst each other with everyone else watching on. Potak looks to the inside lane, down the back straightaway towards the north end of the racetrack here. No dice though, but it stays ahead at least for the moment. We'll see how things pan out here as we begin lap 15 across the line this time by. Bud and Potak at the front of the field. Everyone giving pursuit. Potak on the quarter panel has got a little bit of overlap. Here we go into turn 3. This is where it's going to get interesting. Potak a little loose there. You see the wobbles along the short chute. But side by side they go down the front straightaway. Emily Howe, best view of the house in this battle for the race lead. And it's in the hands of Potak that lap to kick off lap 16. And Christian Budd slots in line and tries to shut the door on Emily Howe. Emily Howe had the wise idea, try to follow through and grab second place back. Christian Budd also smart enough to realize that was going to be a possibility and shut the door through turn 1. But now it is Jacob Potak out in front at the moment. Protek, 2 wins this season, but it has been a feast or famine season. Only 5 top 10s. He has as many retirements as he does top 5s in this season. It has not been great for the 24 count. Sitting 12th, though. That's where he needs to be. A top 10 helps him significantly as this season reaches a point. Lap 17 underway. Looking for his 3rd win this season. It would level him with Colin Keister, who's also had a feast or famine season so far. A little loose there out of turn 2. He saw a little bit of that tail slap from the 24. Christian Budd, only 1 win. 3 poles, though, for him so far this season. Consistency has been important. 7 top 10s helps out a pretty decent amount as far as comfortability in the Winstel Cup Series competition, as far as those that are trying to be championship contenders. Christian Budd, a former champion, knows how that is, just as well as Protek does. Trouble, it looks like Tyler Murray. Whoa, that is Jose Solis Jr. coming down the pit lane. Not alone in that. Jeff Yinich also coming down pit lane. You see him further back. So pit stops, they have started. And out the front of the field, still looking for her first win this season. Last one at Charlotte last year. Pole sitter, her first pole came tonight here at the Brickyard this season. 9 top 10s. It's a high number, high bar to clear. Not many have that same level of consistency as the 55 count. It's why Emily Howell's been top 3 in points all season. More cars coming down the pit lane this time. Tyler Head, Andrew Ferrineres, Philip Snipes, all coming down pit lane this time as the leaders start lap 19. Speeding on pit lane, Jose Solis Jr., you see him still on pit lane. It was his enemy last season. It's his enemy here again. Speeding on pit lane for the 29. Held for an additional minute. And he begins rolling now, having served that stop penalty in addition to his pit stop time. Coming around to complete lap 19. The leaders come in this time. One of them do. That is Christian Budd that comes down pit lane. Not alone. Here comes Josh Chen. Evan Locke, Mauricio, McKissick, Davila, they go on through. Brendan McGee comes down pit lane this time, though. So not a lot of heavy hitters at one time. Everyone racing pretty spread out here as we start lap 20. 2 of your top 3 still rolling. Protek and Emily Howell as they catch up to Jose Solis Jr. just now leaving pit lane. Would have to be under the assumption that they will be coming down pit lane this time by looking like a 3-stop race. Lap 20, lap 40, lap 60 would be about your gambling marks here. Protek stays out, so does Hal. Cars coming in, Trupiano and Roberts. They'll make the dive to pit lane, as does Philip Snipes. And Philip Snipes, he is completing a stop and go, and this was unfortunate, but a part of it. Unsafe pit exit for the 2. Big group of cars further back. Lewandowski, Cruz, Willett, Champeau, Wattenslager, Grantham, Sasek, and Tyndall. All down pit lane. And now getting around, that is McGee. They have worked around just now coming out of pit lane. McGee has fresher tires. He will go around the outside lane here. The race leaders going for the overcut strategy. They want the best tires at the end of this race. Emily Howe comes down pit lane this time, as does Colin Keister. The 55 and the 12 come down pit lane, and it is a smorgasbord of leaders here Evan Locke, Mauricio, McKissick, Davila all in. Seeger, Guest, Marble also in. Ryan has come down pit lane. There she is. Corey Cook also coming down pit lane, the 25, as is Brandon Coppinger, the 45. How about the 48? Sean Pellick stays out. Hayden Rapa also staying out here. Outside the top 35 in points. He's taking bonus points, I think, certainly, at this point. Christian Budd will safely get around everyone leaving pit lane this time, including Emily Howe, who they were close before. Not so close now. Potak coming down pit lane this time. How about Peleg? Just now entering 3. Restart from pit lane, missed the initial start. Dancing that car around turns 3 and 4. I think it's about time for those tires to make their way stage left. And that is indeed the case. Sean Peleg drifting that car out of turn 4. Gets that load down all the way to 55 miles an hour. And down pit lane he comes. Hayden Rapa also goes as far as he can, but no more. Down pit lane, the 58 goes. Getting as high as 3rd. Christian Budd will inherit the race lead from Jacob Potak, who is just now leaving his pit lane. And he's not going to be close to the top 5 here. Staying out longer. The strategy call has been made. He's hoping it pays good, but he's got to get himself up to speed here. He'll be down in 7th, almost 8th. It looks like he might actually be 8th. Colin Keister up to speed already. Looks like he'll try to defend the position on colder tires. Compared to Keister, who has warmer tires and can roll through the corner just a little bit better right now. Two drivers that have been electrifying so far this season, now battling for the 7th position on the racetrack. Just behind them is Jose Solis Jr., 34th, a lap down after having a penalty for speeding on pit lane. One car out, Andy Trupiano, and we're assuming a penalty has also ended his race, and he has decided to just retire the car. His day has come to a close. Potak stays ahead at the moment. Christian Budd has the advantage at the moment so far as we begin lap 25 of the Brickyard 400. And right now it is not particularly close. 2 seconds the margin between Christian Budd and Tyler Head, former champions of the series, 1st and 2nd. A little bit of an undercut. Tyler Head came down pit lane on lap 18. Christian Budd on lap 19. Same with Josh Chen. They're your top 3 at the moment. The undercut, the most effective, at least at the moment. We'll see how the pendulum swings as this race progresses into its 2nd act. Josh Chen trying to close in there on Tyler Head in that battle for 2nd place. Would love to go back-to-back with race wins here. He knows he has the pace. He's got to be smarter than Christian Budd, and Christian Budd's got intelligence. He's got knowledge. He's got libraries of knowledge in spades. Josh Chen, not out of depth, but he's someone who's frequently just kind of been reserved as being one of the road course guys. He's had oval pace. He just hasn't been able to finish them. And this is a race where you have to finish well. We've seen that so many times throughout its history, the Brickyard 400. Paul Menard, a good example of that. In these Gen 4 cars even. You have to go back quite a ways. So many near misses in these Gen 4 cars. The drivers that could have grabbed this crown jewel, but couldn't. Christian Budd, Tyler Head, Josh Chen, Emily Howe, Dylan Roberts, Jacob Potak, your top 6 ahead of Andrew Ferrinares, Colin Keister, Gabriel Mauricio, and Evan Locke. Cipriano has returned to the racetrack here. The 06 for Penske Racing South was having a good day, now not so much. Imperative that he has a car still on the racetrack here in case things go sideways later on in this race. And so far, that's the case. But he is now 36th and last car running. Tyler Head keeping Josh Chen at bay. Josh Chen applying the pressure. Importantly, though, Jacob Potak and Emily Howe are also now back in the conversation. Dylan Roberts not far away either in that Budweiser Chevrolet. Potak, freshest tires of anyone in the field. He is back in the mix, sitting there in 4th, but he has found nowhere to go as Chen makes a move at Tyler Head. Potak will try to follow through. And he gets it. Good move there, Potak, up 2 spots as he gets around both Head and Chen, as here comes Emily Howe to do the same. The 55 down the front straightaway, challenging the 60 and the 4. And Emily Howe gets clear before turn 1. That is impressive stuff there. And caution has come out. And it's further back in the field. Corey Cook, Eli Sasek involved. Third turn 3. So contact for the 71 and the 25 here, further back in the pack. Draws our first caution here on lap 30. So let's take a look here at what happened. Heavy contact there for Corey Cook in the wall hard. It looks like, from that angle, it's hard to tell. It looks like Cook moved up the racetrack just a little bit. Sasek was there. Almost like Cook thought he was clear to drift up a little bit and then use the full racetrack, and certainly wasn't the case. See if we can get a better look at it here from high above. ABN quarter speed. And yeah, that kind of confirms it. Sasek was in the second lane. Cook moves up just enough to get hooked by the nose to the 71. That's exactly where Eli Sasek went. Cook was thinking he had a little bit more space, and Sasek was there trying to make a pass take place. So our first caution comes 30 laps into this event. And now some important questions to be asked. And just about everyone's going to come down pit lane this time and grab the reset here. A lot of damage on the 42 of McKissick. If I saw that correctly, that's a missing bumper on the 42. And sure enough, it is. More than just bumper. There's some significant damage to the 42. The pit stop's taking place right now. Your free pass recipient is Philip Snipes. He will be back on the lap there in 33rd place. Trupiano will stay out and will try to get the wave around here. He is multiple laps down. And Hayden Rapaw did not come down pit lane. He's going to try to lead a lap and then come down pit lane. For those that did stay out, Christian Budd still in front. Henley Howe up to second. Potak and slower pit stop sits in third. And then it's Josh Chan and Tyler Head that would be your top 5 on the race out of pit lane. Dylan Roberts, Andrew Ferraniers, Colin Keister, Gabriel Mauricio, Lucas Davila would become your top 10 once Hayden Rapaw comes down pit lane. Trupiano's been waved by the pace car here. And makes a stop. Typically not allowed in stock car racing. If you get a wave around and you're not the free pass, you have to go back around and join the rear of the field. Trupiano pitting this time, though. Sassing in pit lane for repairs, as is McKissick, as is Corey Cook. As Hayden Rapaw comes down pit lane this time, he will not lead a lap officially here at the Brickyard, at least not this go-around. He'll have to try again on the next cycle. One of the first pit boxes, there he is. Gives the lead up to Christian Budd. So here's how your top 5 looks at the moment. Christian Budd, Emily Howe, Jacob Potak, Josh Chan, and Tyler Head. For our first restart of the night. Dylan Roberts, Andrew Ferraniers, Colin Keister, Gabriel Mauricio, Lucas Davila, your top 10. Evan Locke, Brendan McGee, Michael Guest, Matthew Seeger, Kirk Marble, sitting in your top 15 here. Christina Ryan from 29th to 16th, a good climb so far. Brandon Cruz, Christian Poe, Ethan Winters, and Tom Millette join her in the top 20. James Grantham, Craig Wattensliger, Brandon Coppinger, Tyler Murray, and Sean Pellig in your top 25. This was a caution that the 48 camp desperately needed. Now he can begin his climb back forward and try to get back into the top 10 now that he's got some room to work with and cars around him to work with. He's 25th on this restart. Zach Tyndall, Thomas Lewandowski, Jeff Yinich, Brandon McKissick, Corey Steinhauser, top 30. Eli Sasick, Hayden Rapaw, Philip Snipes, all on the lead lap. And then Jose Solis Jr., Andy Trupiano, and Corey Cook round out this 36 car field. It is almost showtime for this first restart. So for this restart, how about we crank it up? under caution for the second time. As we were ready to wrap up that Crank It Up, Jacob Potak, your race leader. The caution involves Craig Lautenslager, Brandon Cruz, and James Grantham. You can see the damage in the 99. As we're under caution for the second time tonight here at the Brickyard. Willett down pit lane. Looks like he was taking emergency service for damage as well. So let's take a look at what happened to the 99 and others. Looks like Lautenslager, Cruz, Grantham, Willett, and potentially others involved here. The 99 eating the lion's share of the damage. And it's 3 wide here. And same thing that happened with Sasek and Cook. Corey Cook moved the racetrack in front of Sasek. Same thing happened here, but they were 3 wide. I don't know if Cruz was aware that McKissick was in the 3 wide situation. There's where Tom Willett gets a piece of it. Grantham tries locking up his brakes to avoid making contact, 38. And to no avail there. Thankfully, I think any damage he gets is minor in the scheme of things. So he should be able to keep himself rolling without much delay. The same, I don't think, can be said for Cruz or for Lautenschläger, who wears the lion's share of the impact there. As they all come down pit lane, that is likely day done for the 99. And the whole field comes down pit lane this time. Hayden Rapal will try to lead a lap again. I don't think it's going to work this time as well because of how far down pit lane this start-finish line is. But he does circulate for a moment to the front of the field. Jose Solis Jr. does get back on the lead lap, the free pass recipient. There he goes. Tripiano getting a wave around as well because his laps were lost due to a technical infringement, not because of any accident damage. He was not involved in an accident. He had a technical issue, and they're allowing him to regain laps to get back in the running here. I think he's getting 1 lap back per yellow, so he's not guaranteed to get back on lead lap, but he does get a little bit of a bailout there on that front. I believe the same would have happened had Sean Pellig lost a lap on the initial start. Josh Chen wins the battle off pit lane with a 2-tire stop. Only 2 drivers through the field with a 2-tire stop. The other being Philip Snipes, the number 2, down in 18th place. The vibes around Indianapolis Motor Speedway are immaculate. You can see from my above just how expansive this 2.5-mile racing facility is, occupying the same plot of land it has occupied since 1909. And it held its first edition of what was called the Great American Sweepstakes. It would eventually evolve into the Indianapolis 500. This place can seat, it can host up to 400,000 fans. The Indianapolis 500 typically does get around the 350,000, 360,000 spectator mark here. 1 in every 19 people in the U.S., if you looked at the mathematics, would be in one spot. It'd be right here. For the 500, traditionally, there are more people in Speedway, Indiana, at this racetrack than what there are in Indianapolis itself. We'll put it 17th as far as largest cities in the U.S. for that weekend. Corey Cook with some damage repair being done. Not sure if he beat the pace car out. It looks like he did not. So Cook will remain down a lap here. But he was already a lap down before the caution came out, so this is not a surprise. He will just jump in line, first in line on the inside lane. Remember, a single file, lap cars to the left, lead lap cars to the right. To their right, not ours, so I should probably emphasize. Now it's our right. So Josh Chen leads the way. And then it's Potak, Bud, Howe, and Head, your top 5. With less... We have gotten past the halfway point here. Less than 40 laps to go. Dylan Roberts, Gabriel Mauricio, Colin Keister, Evan Locke, Lucas Davila back up into the top 10 here. After the second round pit stop. Still 1 pit stop to go in this race. The strategy has not changed significantly. If anything, it's just become more refined that it is a 3-stop race. That 3rd stop will be happening around lap 60, if not a little after. Kirk Marble, Matthew Seeger, Brendan McGee, Sean Pellig. He's climbed up to 14th place. Andrew Ferriner is your top 15. And it is showtime. Pace car is in. The long wait continues. Green flag flies, and away we go. And they fan out in a pretty massive way. 3 wide and several rows. That was Dylan Roberts that was on the outside in a bad way. everyone trying to get around Corey Cook is why they found out the way they have. Trupiano, not a wounded car. He's lapped out because of a technical issue. He got his way around. Now he is the first car, one lap down. As more cars try to weave their way around the 25 of Cook. And Cook, for his part, trying to make it easy. Got himself to the outside lane. Trouble, McKissick. Huge smack of the wall and cautions out for the third time. After having damage earlier, he has smacked the wall a second time. This time at a 4. And the field is neutralized for the third time on lap 45. And this is going to be pretty self-explanatory. Everyone bunched up. He is behind Philip Snipes. And I don't know if there's any contact here, if he just breaks traction. A little bit of contact there from Ethan Winters, the 39, who got loose. And contact on both sides, front and rear, for McKissick. Makes a bad day worse for the 42, who had top 10 pace at the start. So the immediate reset hits here. Josh Chen. Check it. Potak, Christian Butt, Emily Howe being a lawnmower. I didn't realize Toyota made those. It's deliberate. It did in turn 3, now in turn 4. Thinking that there needed to be a little bit of landscaping, I guess. Trupiano gets the free pass here, not a wave around. So he will be back on the lap there in the 06. And he's thankful for the way that caution played out. Looks like some might be coming down pit lane here. Yep, indeed there are some. Not many. Lewandowski, Coppinger, Solis, Tyndall, Steinhauser, Raypaw, McKissick. Obviously, he's going to come down pit lane. So does Brandon Cruz, with some more work to be done on that Home Depot number 20. Trupiano gets the free pass. Corey Cook comes down pit lane. Craig Lottenslinger also down pit lane, but he has been on pit lane for 7 minutes, so he has not moved anywhere. Tom Willett, the first retirement of this race officially. Craig Lottenslinger, the second retirement, if things proceed as we believe they will. Good look down pit lane. Some of those to come down pit lane this time. Looking at an alternate strategy. They're looking for a shorter stop for their last stop at the end of this race. They're looking at potentially a 2-tire stop if they can muster it. We'll see if they can. Car down pit lane this time. That is Trupiano. That just came down pit lane. Down the center of your screen. Reminder on the points coming in. Mauricio, Roberts, Hal, Solis, Bud, your top 5, all within half a race. Andy Trupiano, Sean Peleg, Josh Chen, and Brennan McGee within 1 full race. Colin Keister just over a race out of the front of the pecking order. Lucas Davila and Jacob Potak a little over a race behind as well, but in the top 12 entering tonight's event. Those on the outside looking in, they have to gain some significant ground on somebody in the top 12. Michael Guest. He's had a quiet race, but he's been in and around that top 15 conversation. Down at 21st right now. Not where he wants to be. Brendan McKissick, he has had a day to forget. Kirk Marble in 15th in points. He is 12th on the racetrack right now. Sean Peleg is 13th. He is in the top 12 already. We already mentioned his name earlier. Andrew Ferrinares 20th right now in points. He is 14th on the racetrack. Let's see. Christina Ryan's next up, 18th on the racetrack, 16th in points. Tyler Head is top 5 on the racetrack, 17th in points. Trying to break through here. He's going to have a couple of pretty fantastic races and Today could be one of them. A top 5 here at the Brickyard would help out pretty significantly. And then you look further down at the lower end of the top 35. Brandon Cruz has had a rough day, but thankfully, with only 36 runners, should have enough to still hold on and stay top 35 for next week's race in California. Those on the outside looking in aren't particularly close. Craig Lautenslager having a bad day. He will stay outside the top 35 with how things are running. Chris Champeau having a quiet day, but not ineffective is the 22. He might have a chance to jump up a little bit. If not in the top 35, a little bit closer. James Grantham will gain as well. He's still over a race out of the top 35, so that's not a conversation. So, a lot to look at here. Josh Chen leads the way over Jacob Potak, Christian Budd, Emily Howe, and Tyler Head, your top 5 at the moment. Only car at the tail end of the field off the lead lap on the racetrack is Corey Cook in 34th, 3 laps down. Everyone else on the lead lap here as we get ready to go back racing. We begin lap 48 of 80 on our 3rd restart of the night. Josh Chen trying to go back-to-back. Jacob Potak looking for his 3rd win of the season. A long wait down the front straightaway. The green flag flies, and away we go. We're back underway here at the Brickyard. A little bit of Winstel there for the 24. Holds on to 2nd place, though. We are back underway. Down towards the north end of the racetrack now. Down the back straightaway. Everyone under a blanket. Matthew Seeger, the 98. Looking at the 48 of Sean Pellick, who's missing a front bumper now. Damage we had not spotted earlier. Is that significant? It might be. The 48 loses a spot pretty handily there. And he's losing several spots. That is legitimate damage. That is not a net code issue. That is not a server input misdirection. That is legitimate damage. He has lost several spots, lost 5 on one straightaway. Down to 16th he goes, now ahead of Philip Snipes. The same issue that had befallen McKissick initially before his most recent spin that has landed the 42 down in 31st position. And my only guess that I've got is that there was a checkup under caution that the 48 was caught out by in a similar fashion to the 42. But I'm not sure. There's Michael Guest. There's Christina Ryan. They go through with minimal fuss. Lewandowski will try to do the same, as will Tyler Murray. And he is significantly wounded, so there's been a checkup, and he has been the odd one out. The issue is that I don't see who we would make contact with. No one else is significantly dropping positions here, nor is there many signs of damage. But the 48 of Pellick, as quickly as he was climbing through the field after missing the initial start, he is dropping just as fast. Drops behind Coppinger now, after Yanich and Champeau got around him. Here comes the 06 of Tripiano, who was a top 10 running car, and that could be why. Solis tagged the wall. You saw a little flicker of what appeared to be damage. Could that be the case under caution? I don't think so. But you never know. Either way, the 48 has lost significant pace here and has dropped down to 25th. And he is struggling mightily in that 48 machine. At the front, it is still Josh Chen and Jacob Potak. It is J&J Security at the front of the field blockading the top 2 spots away from Christian Budd and Emily Howe. And here comes your defending Winstel Cup Series champion, looking for the race lead once again, ahead of last week's race winner, Josh Chen. Side by side they go. They're both looking for safety in the chase. Kotak clears into 1. With less than 30 to go, 29 this time by. Christian Budd 3rd, Howe 4th, ahead in 5th. Ahead of Roberts, Mauricio, Locke, Keister, and Marble up in the top 10 right now. But it's a bit tense further down the running order. This is 11th, the battle for it between Ferrinares and Davila. Side by side. Keeping it close, but keeping it tidy so far. Is the 1974, a little bit of a wobble there. Ferrinares got loose. It allows the 98 to pick a lane. Davila not quite clear into turn 1. And he's got to be careful with that. We've seen a lot of people try to clear themselves and not have the lane. Davila gave just enough space in this battle for the 11th spot. Up the racetrack, he goes a little bit here. Gives Ferrinares a shot down the back straightaway towards the north end. Here they go. And still side by side they go for a full lap. They have been side by side at this point, and that doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon, much to the chagrin of Seeger and Guest and company. McGee is in this conversation. Lewandowski, Ryan, Winters, Snipes, Murray, they're all in this conversation. And they're looking 3 wide now. Seeger thought about it, couldn't quite get there in time for turn 1, but he really wanted it. Davila felt the confidence from the result in Watkins Glen, the pole position and the podium, both first for him in Winstel. And whoa, trouble! Seeger with a save, not quite. But it stays green. He kept it roughly in the right direction. Didn't come to a complete stop. Seeger a little over-ambitious, a little overzealous. All he had to do was wait a little bit. He saw Davila get clear of Ferrinares out of turn 2 and was trying to capitalize because Ferrinares checked up a little bit. And what happened is that he got a little out of the racing line where there's a lack of grip. And it went sideways, and he tried saving it, but by the time he got it saved, he ran out of space and grabbed the wall out of turn 2. Ferrinares going to try the second verse and hope it's not the same as the first. A little bit of contact. Ferrinares leans on the 19 of Davila, trying to use a little bit of physicality to get clear for the top 11. And he does get clear. That physicality did work a little bit. See if Davila returns the center. Michael Guest also sliding up the racetrack, slid all the way through the line in turn 3. But this time he kept it safe and stays 14th. Sorry, 13th for Michael Guest. 14th, Brendan McGee. Position further back, it is Trupiano and Snipes battling side by side for the 19th position. Trupiano, the faster car, trying to work against his Penske Racing teammate, and he gets through. Trupiano up to the 19th position. As they battle onwards, Potak cleared by 6/10, and it's now a battle for second with Chen, with Bud, and with Howe, all in the conversation. Christian Bud loose on the power out of turn 4. Trying to get to the 60 of Josh Chen. Shrugged off a little bit of those tires. He's not going to help him later on here. Most of the field did not come down pit lane that last caution. Everyone in your top 13 came down pit lane on lap 41. Lewandowski came down pit lane on lap 45. And there goes Christian Budd up to the second spot. Emily Howe looking for third on the run, and she gets it. Emily Howe up to P3. And now here comes Tyler Hebb. In the turn one, Hebb's going to have a look at getting around as it is, I believe that was almost 3 wide further back. That was Davila getting back around Ferrinares here. They are hanging it out here outside the top 10. Marble's in 10th. This is for 11th. And it's electrifying seeing this battle take place. Murray has dropped back into the clutches of Jose Solis Jr. One car down the pit lane. And it looks like with some substantial work to be done is the 38 of James Grantham. And he's down in 33rd position as 2 leaders go on through. Bud and Howe have to try to catch up to Jacob Potak. After battling to get around the 60 of Josh Chen, who has dropped down to the top 5. He's dropped down to 5th. Grantham leaving pit lane. 45-second pit stop there for Grantham. He had definitely tied the wall at some point, but is back rolling now. Michael Guest battling Thomas Lewandowski out of turn number 2. Here comes Christina Ryan, also looking for a way around in that number 84 Team Red Bull machine. Potak clear by 1 1/4 second over Bud and Howe. "21 laps to go here in the Brickyard 400. Coming on to 20 laps to go. 1 pit stop remains in this Brickyard 400. And down pit lane early on the nose is Tyler Head and Gabriel Mauricio and Andrew Ferrinares. Undercut strategy now in play. Who covers it off? Philip Snipes comes down pit lane as well. So a busy pit lane for some. Eli Sassick down pit lane as well. But the final pit stop sequence is now underway. Let's see how this plays out. Potak, Bud, Hal, Chen, Roberts, your top 5 now. Coming to 19 laps to go. The undercut was very impressive early on. The fresh tires, as we saw with Jacob Potak, was so vital. I don't know if anyone wants to go with that risk. Roberts, Marble, they come down, and there's a slew of drivers that come down. Davila, McGee, Guest, Ryan, Champeau, they're all coming down pit lane this time. Yanich comes down pit lane as well, the 27. So there's a lot of cars that do decide to come down pit lane this time. They don't think a two-tire stop is an option here. They're not buying it. And so they're not even going to bother. They're going to take the tires now and stick with the stints that they know from earlier on in this race. Potak stays out longer. He stayed out long on the first go-around. This is not going to be surprising. What the rest of the field is hoping for at this particular junction is that a caution does not come out. Josh Chen comes down pit lane this time. Potak is really good on older tires, though. 1.8 seconds is the gap at the front of the field. He is rocketed away. Sienna Ryan will go a lap down temporarily. Michael Guest will stay on the lead lap, it looks like, for the time being. But Sienna Ryan on fresher tires will have the pace advantage and will get herself unlapped here, so long as a caution does not come out in the next lap or so. Evan Locke has moved his way into the top 5 conversation with Colin Keister, who has had a quieter second half here in Indianapolis after having some spotlight earlier on in this race. Potak stays out. Ryan gets her lap back. That's 25th for the 84. She's trying to leapfrog into the top 10 with the undercut strategy. We'll see if it plays out that way. Bud, Trupiano, Lewandowski, and Solis down pit lane this time. And again, not a lot coming down one time. The most we've seen come down one time was 8 cars. Everyone else pretty well spread out. I think it's working out pretty well because it's preventing a lot of pit lane issues that we normally would have seen. We've seen a couple of speeding issues on pit lane, but nothing significant. Potak now leads by 2.4 seconds. Lap traffic in the way will be a factor for Emily Howe. And there's Jeff Yinich, there's Philip Snipes. And Potak is in pit lane this time, as is the 55 of Howe. So your front runners are come down pit lane. Here comes Colin Keister, Evan Locke, having to split between lap cars. And he is spun at the entrance of pit lane. They stay green for the moment because he didn't make contact with the wall. But Evan Locke will lose a lot of time here coming down pit lane. Keister, now the race leader. Commentator, McKissick, second and third. Whoa! Trouble! Keister in the fence off of the nose of Sasek! Keister's been turned in turn 3 by Eli Sasek. Oh my goodness. And Keister's day from the front of the field is over. Oh my goodness. Commentator now leads the field. Keister's day is done, and that was a situation that Keister was trying to avoid. Couldn't afford to have it. Five bonus points for the 45 out in front, leading a lap for the first time today. And devastation is the only word I think to describe what happened to the 12. Off the nose of the 71 Eli Sasek here. I'd love to go back and take a look at it here. It had already happened. Let's back it up. And this is AB in slow motion. Keister, your race leader. Sasek trying to get his lap back. It almost looks self-inflicted from this perspective. Sasek, Sasek and Seeger are faster. They just came out of pit lane. He was running the bottom of the racetrack and tried to arc up, almost tried to take an IndyCar line into turns 3 and 4. And Sasek was not expecting him to lift as much as he was because he had a full head of steam down the front straightaway. And that's going to be, I think, Sassek's argument there. As Commentator stays out in front a little bit longer here. Hayden Rapaw's also yet to come down pit lane. Of those that have been down pit lane, Tyler Head would be the inherent race leader once those two come down pit lane. Hayden Rapaw down pit lane now. So Tyler Head looking to inherit the race lead here with about 12 laps to go. Dylan Roberts, Josh Chin, Gabriel Mauricio, Christian Budd, Jacob Potak. And Potak's got his work cut out for him here. Everyone in this lead conversation now on your screen. And Commentator down pit lane this time. It will relinquish the race lead. He did a great job, led 3 laps tonight, and grabbed those 5 extra bonus points. Tyler Head, former champion of the series. Out in front ahead of Josh Chin, Dylan Roberts. Those two battled at Watkinsville a week ago. They're battling again here. Christian Budd in 4th. Jacob Potak in 5th. They're side by side towards turn 1. Be a fun little race to finish. 11 laps to go here. Battle further back. This is between Lewandowski and Winters. Behind Solis, 15th, 16th, and 17th on your screen. And Tyler Head has been caught by Josh Chin. Josh Chin trying to find 2 wins in a row. How much it would help him secure his spot in the chase of the Winstel Cup. He's got the overrun. He's got that overlap in the turn 3, and not a lot of fighting there for Tyler Head. Both of them can benefit pretty massively here. Potak looking for 3rd. And I don't think Roberts is going to fight him too off hard. I could be wrong, though. Battles hard at a turn 4. Potak gets clear anyway. Potak, the fastest car on the racetrack. Josh Chin has the advantage position-wise. And Potak's got to get around Tyler Head as well. But the 24 and the 60 need good results to secure themselves a chance at the Winstel Cup. Because you don't know what Fontana next week can bring. Last time we were in Fontana, Jacob Potak crashed out, finished 44th. Wasn't a pleasant time for him. Another result like that would knock him out of the running for the chase. Coming to 9 laps to go here in Indianapolis. Chin, Head, Potak, Roberts, and Budd, your top 5 here. Mauricio, Howe, Ferrinares, Marble, and Davila, your top 10 at the moment. Here comes Potak for 2nd place around Tyler Head. And the reigning Winstel Cup Series champion is on the move up to the runner-up spot. Trying to do what he could not do in New York a week ago. It is Chin versus Potak at the front of the field once more. Christian Budd looking around Dylan Roberts, and not going to be much of a conversation there. Budd gets clear for 4th. Side by side further back, Ryan and Trupiano. That is for 12th and 13th on the racetrack here. Trupiano's recovered nicely after having the technical issue that took him 3 laps down. Christina Ryan qualified 29th, up to 13th place. McGee in 14th. Solis battling with Ethan Winters for the 16th spot. And Solis goes through. Potak to the front of the field. He got around Josh Chen, and you saw Josh Chen get loose. That was part of the reason why. Now the question is, can Josh Chen rally back? Potak down the front straightaway. Has half a second advantage. Christian Budd looking for third on Tyler Head as they head into turn one. And Christian Budd trying to hold on and move to third. Tyler Head not going to let it go nicely here. And there it goes. Christian Budd forces the issue and grabs third place. And now he's got to chase down Josh Chen for second. Coming to 6 laps to go. Next time by for Jacob Potak and company. Michael Guest up to 10th around Kirk Marble. He's got eyes set now on Davila, the Argentinian. Davila in 9th, Guest in 10th. Trupiano just behind in 12th. Christina Ryan on a little bit of an island in 13th place. Lewandowski in 14th, 15th, Solis, 16th, McGee. Winters down to 17th. Even spacing between the top 3 at the front. Can anyone close in on Jacob Potak at the front of the field? Or is it curtains here at the Brickyard in favor of the defending Winstel Cup Series champion? Time will tell. Coming to 5 laps to go here. It's been a wild one. 3 cautions in this race. 30 cars still on the lead lap down to Hayden Rapop in 30th. Brandon Cruz 1 lap down the first car off the lead lap here. Still battling here. It is Guest and Davila. They have left Kirk Marble in the dust. Trupiano's gotten around the 09 actually. So Trupiano to 11th place. Improving that recovery drive a little bit more for the 06. Michael Guest in the turn 1 gets clear of the 19. And P9 it is now for the 46, up 22 spots from where he started this race, down in the 31st position. Potak leads the way. Over Chen, over Budd, over Head, over Roberts. With coming to 4 laps to go. A little bit of a conversation piece here for 4th. Tyler Head and Dylan Roberts. Emily Howell, the pole sitter of this race, not far away. Sort of just browsing and perusing here. A little bit of a battle here. Jeff Yinich and Philip Snipes for 19th and 20th. Also underway here. But Philip Snipes can't quite close in there through turn 1. Battle here. Davila trying to hold on to the top 10 ahead of Trupiano. And it's going to be tough. I think the important thing is that he's minimizing the lost points to those outside the top 12 at this point. Davila entered this race 11th in points. Trupiano already ahead of him in the points, sitting in the top 8. Michael Guest closing in doesn't help him much. Andrew Ferrier's too far back to really be a confidence point right now. And everyone else is ahead of him in points, minus Josh Chen. So Davila, I think, will take a day like this, where he's got a second in hand with 3 to go, to try to bring this home 11th and see where things sit. 2.7 seconds. Jacob Potak has said goodbye. Sayonara, arrivederci, goodbye to this field. 2 laps to go, 5 miles for the 24th. That is synonymous with success at the Brickyard. The very first 400 won by Jeff Gordon back in 1992. Sorry, 1994. 1992 is when he debuted in the Cup Series. 94 is when he won the first Brickyard 400. Won the 400 5 times. He was a maestro of Indianapolis Motor Speedway when it came to the 400 and the NASCAR Cup Series. Josh Chen has gotten right back to the bumper of Christian Budd, but he's not alone. There's Hal, and there is Tyler Head. It's a 3-way fight for the last spot in the podium. Jacob Potak will come across and take the white flag. 1 lap to go here in Indy. But here you go. Christian Budd, Emily Howell, they're moving up to 2nd and 3rd. Josh Chen has dropped out of the podium spots altogether. Budd up to 2nd. Howell to 3rd. Chen in 4th, under pressure for 4th by Tyler Head. Roberts in 6th, safely ahead of Mauricio in 7th by 4 seconds. Through 3 and 4 for the final time. Potak has a 4-second advantage. He can coast home from here. It'll be a 3rd win this season for the defending Winstel Cup Series champion. And how better of a time could it be? Jacob Potak wins the Brickyard 400. And there's your race for the podium. Christian Budd and Emily Howell finished top 3. Josh Chen loses the podium on the last 2 laps to finish 4th. Tyler Head 5th. But Jacob Potak grabs his 3rd win of the season at a very necessary point into this race. 12th in points on the very cut line for the Winstel Cup chase. And he is now victorious, and that helps him out significantly in the points conversation heading into California next week. Far from over. He's got some gremlins to get over in California when we head there next Sunday. But this is a good foot forward to head into the West Coast. Jacob Potak, your race winner tonight. Phenomenal stuff. Jacob Potak, who will get ready to celebrate and burn it down here on the front straightaway. Some big nights for the Winstel Cup Series field. We're going to talk to our opponent finishers here in just a moment. Daytime burnout for Jacob Potak, your race winner for the 3rd time this season. Doesn't go over the bricks and lets the engine expire there on the front straightaway. A phenomenal job for him. We'll go over the race results here before we talk to our opponent podium finishers. Let me try again in English here. Jacob Potak, Christian Butt, Emily Howe, your podium finishers. We'll talk to all 3 of them in just a moment. Josh Chen, after winning in Watkins Glen a week ago, finishes 4th here. Led a lion's share of laps, but could not find the podium at the very end, losing it out Holding on to fourth, Tyler Head in fifth, Dylan Roberts in sixth, over Gabriel Mauricio, Andy Trupiano, and Jafarian Michael Guest, top 10 there at the end. We saw that battle with Lucas Davila, who finished this race in 11th place. Did a good job for him in the 19. Kirk Marble in 12th, Christina Ryan in 13th, Jose Solis Jr., a good recovery for him in 14th place. Thomas Lewandowski, 15th, ahead of Evan Locke, Ethan Winters, Jeff Yinich, Brendan McGee, Tyler Murray, rounding out your top 20 here in the Brickyard 400. Philip Snipes, Chris Champeau, Brandon Coppinger, Eli Sasek, your top 24. Brandon McKissick in 25th. 26th, Matthew Seeger. Corey Steinhauser, 27th. That'll help him out significantly. Sean Peleg, after having damage earlier in this race, recovers and only grabs 28th. What a race to forget for the 48 camp tonight. Hayden Rapaw in 29th. Zach Tyndall in 30th. The last car to finish on this lead lap. Brandon Cruz finishing 1 lap down, as did James Grantham, who finished 5 laps down. Colin Keister, Corey Cook, Craig Lautenslager, Tom Willett did not finish here tonight. And so, let's talk to your podium finishers here tonight. We didn't get a chance to talk to her a week ago. We get a chance to talk to her here tonight. Here at Indianapolis, a third-place finish in the Brickyard 400, the pole sitter. Emily Howe, walk us through that race. That was a wild one and an amazing battle at the end just to try to get to the podium places.
Yeah, that was a long race. I'm sure you can count. We did 80 circuits of that Speedway, and I was sweating for every single one of them. Dang old right rear tire not attached to the right rear of the race car most laps. So that was a interesting occasion, but we persevered. I don't know what it is about Indy, but like every year I tend to be either the pole or almost the pole here. I don't know why. I usually suck at qualifying, but for whatever reason, I tend to have good track position to start here at Indy, and that usually propels me into a decent finish.
It's important no matter what here. Obviously, we're talking about getting closer and closer to the start of the chase here, and the results matter no matter how you get them. You talk about qualifying well. The 55 had pace tonight, even if it wasn't quite the pace of the 24, who checked out the end there. The 55 looks strong here, obviously, at the Brickyard. You talk about you're not sure where that pace comes from, but it was consistent tonight throughout the entire race here. You were never outside the top 5, really, under any circumstance. Walk us through sort of how that battle, you talk about 80 laps and how difficult it is here at Indy, just how demanding this racetrack is. How do you manage to rally back as well as you do there at the end? Because I think that's the bigger, accomplishment is being able to rally back. You were looking at 5th. You were sitting pretty far away to be able to grab a 3rd place here and be in a photo finish sort of result with Christian at the line is an accomplishment on its own.
Oh yeah, I mean, the last run, like there was so much fall off, and we were burning the right rear so hard that I just knew that I wanted to be on offense the whole time, and so you do the pit last strategy, have the freshest tires, you have the best right rear for the whole run, and it's really just a case of being disciplined and keeping your right rear under you, not getting panicked, not trying to push too hard, and then trusting that you'll be there at the very end. And it worked out this time. I think if I could have done one or two jobs better of either getting on and off pit road or just handling a lap car, we kind of a second there. But heading into the chase cutoff next week, pretty happy where I'm sitting at in points. I can't imagine we had too bad of a night tonight. Led a good number of laps because we got those bonus points, and then 3rd place finish with I'm not really fighting Bud or Potak up here for the top side of points, so it should be a pretty decent night for us. And I think we probably are safe heading into Auto Club next week, so I can blow over Cruz.
Don't get suspended going into the chase. I don't want to see that happen.
Suspend me for blowing over Cruz. Like, I don't know, Brennan. If you can hear me, Brennan, he deserves it. You know it. We all know it. He looked the other way, man. One time.
I took it at the wrong time there. That being said, we head into Fontana next week. A race went so well. A 2nd place last time we went there in the Gen 4. We go there in the COT, which is going to be even faster coming up here in a week's time. What's the excitement level going into that race? That was a fan favorite race on the calendar when it was announced. What's the feeling going into this, having already been successful there once already this season?
I think it's going to be one of the best races we ever have, or I'm gonna get blown over on lap 7, and it's not gonna matter at all. Uh, Either way, tune in next week because we might have the Winstel's first modern era blowover. You know, that'd be a new thing.
And also be the first one on ABN screens for an actual race. We've had practice blowovers, never actually any race blowovers. So I'm excited for multiple levels. The race should be a lot of fun. Everyone's excited for it, and we saw how good the race was in the Gen 4s here back in March. That being said, mathematically, I think you are locked in now for the chase when it begins after the summer break in July. Before we let you go and obviously let you focus on HTL tomorrow in Sonoma, we get to go to wine country there and everything else coming up here before next Sunday's race in California. If there's anyone to shout and say thank you, the floor is yours. We didn't get to talk to you last Sunday. We got to talk to you Monday. We got to talk to you tonight. Hopefully, we get to talk to you tomorrow night. So the floor is yours.
Oh well, it's about the usual routine. Got to thank everyone behind the scenes at AVN. Everyone behind the scenes at Winstel, Brendan McGee. Unfortunately, I have to thank him. Christian Budd, everybody who puts together all the money, funding, and whatever for these fun races we do all throughout the year. I want to thank everyone who tunes in and watches every week and bets on Jose to speed. Was there a Jose speeding line, by the way?
I don't think there was officially. I saw it as I went live. I had just seen it. I know that there was a group of people that were watching that did make a bet on it, and a lot of people took the over and they won out on that. So
Well, yes was minus 2,000 odds, surprisingly enough. So I lost the house on a no plus 5,400 odd on Jose not speeding. I figured he might wreck before we got to green flag pit stops. So he might have sped, but let me tell you, I haven't done the review yet, so I can't tell you if he did. But let me tell you, Carmen, I imagine you saw him wipe out at some point.
Well, I saw him almost wipe out entering pit lane, so I know he sped because he was on camera doing it. He almost wiped out, and he was going, I think, 64 in a 55 when he got to the line. So
I don't drive you very far.
I do believe that the speeding bet did hit there for Jose. That being said, it's gonna be a lot of fun to see how next week goes in Fontana. A lot of fun seeing how tomorrow goes, the road course racing in Sonoma. Emily Howe, congratulations on your third place tonight. Obviously, we'll talk again very soon. But congratulations on third place and being locked into the chase going into July.
Woo!
A phenomenal job for Emily Howe. P3 tonight and locked into the chase for the Winstel Cup when things begin July 26th. Remember, there's a summer break after next week's race in Fontana, so we'll cover that briefly. We move on to the second place finisher here who had to hang on for everything he had in that 17 car. Led laps early. Unfortunately, it was a battle for second at the end there. Jacob Potak just waltzed away at the end, but it is a phenomenal second place, a lock into the chase of the Winstel Cup officially here tonight. Christian Budd, second place, former champion, has been in this position before. Walk us through it, Christian. That was a long race, a very physical race, but a very fun race, at least up here in the booth. How was it down there in the 17 camp?
Yeah, it was very fun, very tiring. This is one of our longest races that we'll do this year, and with as loose as the cars are set up and everything, you're working the whole time. So definitely have to be on your toes the whole time. The car really would snap and bite you. The tires would wear out. So it was really difficult the whole night to do. Wish we hadn't seen the first caution. We had gone green. I felt like my strategy was right to maybe get the win here. I know getting locked in and everything is cool. That's really great. But I'll be honest, I just want to win at Indy so bad, and I think I've finished second here 4 times now, third once. I don't know. Just can't seem to finally get that last spot, but. Congratulations to Jake. He ran a really good race. Got to race with him all night. Raced him hard every time he came up to me because I knew he would, if he did get out front, it would be really tough to ever get back by him. And didn't get it done, but it was a good race.
Being locked in, it allows you to enjoy a little bit more of what should be a very fun race. A lot of drivers expecting next week's race in California with the car tomorrow to be race of the season. potentially next week. Everyone enjoys the COT. Everyone has had a lot of fun with it this season. What is your perspective of that COT going into next week's race, knowing that it could be one of the fastest races in modern Winstel history?
Well, we haven't had a bad race this year from the standpoint of the on-track product. We've had a couple races that had some too many cautions. New Hampshire and Pocono, I think. But Bristol, Bristol,
Bristol's Bristol. But yeah.
One day, iRacing will make Bristol something that we would like to use, but someday. As far as the on-track product, I can't be any happier than what we've had all year. Emily and the setup crew and everybody who's coming and testing has just done a great job getting these things set up to where they're really challenging to drive. I feel like the most talented people are able to show their stuff and get up there and race and try and win these races, which is all I ever want. It's not me, unfortunately, as much as I'd like, but that's what I want it to do. That's what I would like it to do, and that's what we've done so far. Auto Club is a really good track. It's one of the best on iRacing. We had a really good race there with this car in the spring, and I don't expect any different when we go there.
You get to go in there with a little less stress, knowing that it's just about getting points and figuring out where you're going to be points-wise going into the Chase of the Winstel Cup when we kick things up after the summer break at the end of July. That being said, a lot of fun seeing you race tonight. Laps led, obviously, we saw you in contention all night long tonight. Whether it was in strategy, whether it was at the end, where it was everyone going at the same space, everyone going for the same real estate there tonight. Before we let you go and let you obviously enjoy your podium and enjoy the rest of your weekend here, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. A lot of fun watching the 17 car tonight. We've seen you victorious before, and I think we see. I love to be a betting person and say I think we got a couple more in that 17 camp before the season's out.
Well, I sure hope you're right. Big thanks to you for the broadcast. They look great. Everybody who's hopefully watching these and enjoying them, just know how much time and effort goes into making these things happen. You're a big part of that. Wife and kids, mom and dad, everybody who supports me and enjoys these races, and all the Winstel admins for all the work that they do all the time. It never stops. Emily for setups, and everybody who showed up tonight. I got to race with a lot of really talented people up front, and that's what makes it so fun. So thanks to them, and hopefully we'll see you here again next week.
It'll be a lot of fun to see how things pay out in California next Sunday. Christian Budd, second place finisher here at the Brickyard 400. A phenomenal job for car 17, locked in to the Chase of the Winstel Cup a week early, heading into California. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that was Christian Budd, our second place finisher here tonight. We move on to your race winner, third race win of the season, and it couldn't have been much better of a timing for the 24 camp for Jacob Potak into this race. 12th in points on the cut line for the Chase of the Winstel Cup, the defending Winstel Cup Series champion, coming in clutch here with one race to go in the regular season. Jacob, this was a very needed result. It's been feast or famine all season long. How are you feeling? Because you waltzed away at the end of this race. You found pace that no one really realized you could get a hold of here at the Brickyard. What was that feeling like?
Yeah, feast or famine, and it's good to be at the feasting point of that. So I'm feeling really good. That was a really, really fun race. The setup was awesome, and I couldn't get the lead, though. It was really frustrating. I knew I had the fastest car, but just pit stop timing and yellows and two tire calls. It felt like I was just constantly having to pass cars, and this isn't the track you really want to have to pass a lot of cars at. So it was pretty stressful during those times. But once I got the lead at the end there, and I know it would have been smart if there had been a caution to come out with 3 to go, whatever, to save some tires for that, back the pace off. But I was just in the zone and just pushing, and it just didn't feel like I was even having to try. It was just every corner was coming up perfect, catching lap cars and cars that need to pass, just catching them at the right time, and just didn't feel like I was getting out of shape really at all. And it was just so great. And finally saw that white flag. It felt like that last 5 laps took 5 hours, but finally got that white flag and knew it was in the bag. So really, really happy. And yeah, definitely needed it more than I've ever needed a win before.
We talk about the season, how frustrating it has been for the 24 camp. This race puts you on the right track significantly here. But safety is not assured. It's still more of an illusion right now. Fontana coming up here next Sunday is the immediate focal point. Last time we were in Fontana, you finished 44th. A very difficult race back in March. It was with this car. We go to the COT next Sunday for the last regular season race in that car. What is the feeling going into that race? Is there concerns about Fontana? Is there concerns about that COT car? You've been stronger in the Gen 4 than the COT, but you've had better finishes in the COT than the Gen 4 overall as far as the averages go. Is there concern for Fontana next week, or do you feel like you figured out what plagued you earlier this season?
Well, you made a really good point that definitely not in the clear yet, but made a really good step towards getting there tonight. And yeah, Fontana this year, actually, the first race we had, I think it was second race season. I did get the win there because this is fun that I get to say
Yeah,
going
that's
back.
right.
Yeah, all good, all good. It did feel like first or 44th every other week there, so might as well.
You and Colin
keep fighting
Keiser were trading because he won Daytona. You didn't finish Daytona. You won Fontana. He finished 43rd in Fontana, and then you didn't finish the following race, and he won that race. Yes. So, yes, you won Fontana before. So I misnoted that. That being said, the second part of the question still stands. You've been stronger in the Gen 4. You've had the stronger races in the Gen 4 than the COT. Have you figured that out to try to go and repeat in Fontana?
Yeah, with the COT, this one's kind of different too because this is a 2-mile track, and a lot of the COT races we've done this year, mile or short tracks, mile and under. So I think it'll just be hopefully different than those races that haven't gone well in the COT. I think hopefully less cautions than say like a Bristol or Martinsville. So that should help with the risk factor, at least get some clean air and long runs, get some space. And I think with the COT on the big tracks, the only thing is the tire wear. Just because you have so much power, it's so heavy, you can really get yourself in a bad spot. Just overcook the tires 5 laps into a run and then just be holding on for the next pit stop. So we're going to try and avoid that. But yeah, usually with the way the schedule set up here, you don't get to say you're going back to a track. So the fact I get to say going back to a track I already won at this season, that's certainly a good feeling. So I'm excited for next week. I think it's going to be a really exciting race and going to hopefully get it done, get into the chase, and focus on that from there.
We're looking forward to see how next Sunday goes in Fontana. Some stats to point out before we get there. Potak's best result in the COT, a second at New Hampshire. His best finish at a track larger than a mile. Watkins Linney finished 10th. That was just a week ago. And then 11th in Las Vegas back earlier in the season. We'll see how things play out in Fontana, but a helpful night here tonight. Third race win, all 3 wins in the Gen 4 car. We say goodbye to it for now. We'll see it again after July once the chase begins. Jacob Potak, if there's anyone, I don't know if I already asked this question. If there's anyone you shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. I think I've already asked that question. It's been a long night.
I feel you on that. That was a very, very long race, and thank you for another stellar broadcast. So definitely shout out to you and everything. Christina, everybody does stuff at ABN, so thank you guys. And just thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody out there racing. It was just with Bud and Christian, Emily, Tyler. It was just awesome racing all night up front. It was really, really hard racing. You know, we weren't just flip-flopping the lead and trading it. You had to work for it, but everybody was really respectful, and it was just a great, great race. So, and shout out Carolina Hurricanes too, cooking that Stanley Cup tonight. So, yeah, hope you have a great rest of your night, Carmen, and we'll see you around.
A phenomenal job for Jacob Potak. Third win this season. Helps his odds to make the chase to the Winstel Cup, but he's got to finish it off in Fontana, where he was victorious back earlier this season, second race of the season, back on March 8th. Jacob, congratulations, and hopefully we get to talk to you again in a similar form next Sunday. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It is hot in ABN Studios. Forgot that Potak and the notes for Potak and Keister were a little bit inverted there. The notes I was using for Potak all night was for Keister, and the notes I was using for Keister were for Potak. So, whoops. But we covered it there. Potak, a victorious driver in Fontana earlier this season. Keister was the one who finished 44th in that race. But Potak has had feast or famine. He has finished last place twice this season. He has had 4 DNFs. That part was accurate. But 3 wins, all in the Gen 4s. He will try to pick up the slack here in the COT next Sunday. But that does it for us here from Indianapolis. We hope you join us again tomorrow night, both on Patreon and on YouTube. HTL Cup Series action from Wine Country, Sonoma Raceway in Sears Point, California. That is tomorrow night. If you're watching on YouTube, you can catch it around 8 p.m. Eastern Time, give or take. I think we have a schedule for 8:30 because that's when the green flag drops. We usually try to go live a little bit earlier for qualifying. We'll see how things play out tomorrow with how scheduling is set up. Tuesday is the HTL Challenger Series from Kentucky. Back-to-back nights, Tuesday and Wednesday, from the Bluegrass State ABN Champ Car action begins again after their spring break for the ABM Bluegrass 300 on Wednesday. Thursday, we're back live for the IndyCar Series from Iowa for a doubleheader there. We unfortunately were not live last Thursday due to a storm and just staying safe, trying to stay in place and shelter in place there. So we'll be live next Thursday for the Iowa doubleheader there, and we'll be live again next Sunday for the Winstel Cup Series race in Fontana. On behalf of everyone here for Patreon, for ABN Studios, for everyone at Winstel and all of its partners, I'm Carmen Sienna. Thank you for joining us tonight for a wonderful race. We'll see you tomorrow night from Wine Country. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy. So long, everybody, from Indianapolis.